What's good? What's good? What's good? What is good? What Guan? Right back at you. It's your boy Big Truck. Shout out to my man, Coffee Pot again. Back with another one. Conversation and reviews. We're gonna get into this thing here, so grab your shoulder pads and your helmet. And let's get this work. Let's go.
They were in high school. When the nerd came up to the girl in high school, she was like, no, I want you. And then once she became a baby mama, he was a CEO, executive, and all that. And she like, hey, you remember me? He said, no, I want you. I be feeling like, respectfully, y'all is the grown-up versions of that got hurt in high school while we was out with the dealers. Let me tell you something. We were victims then making horrible decisions with grown preying on us. Y'all gotta let that shit go.
She sat here and claimed victim. Oh, we were messing with drug dealers and older men and scammers and all this other shit. And the good guys are just supposed to let it go. Forgive us, let it go, even though we have children with these men, right? As young black men in high school, even it starts off really in middle school. In middle school, you're in eighth grade. The girls are talking to the freshmen, maybe even a sophomore at the high school. So when you're in middle school, they're talking to high schoolers. And when you're in high school, you become like a sophomore, junior, senior. They're talking to grown men outside of schools.
What the brother's saying, I agree. You know, I can even take him back a little bit further as to say it is so important to have both parents in the household, you know, because it gives that balance. And what we're seeing is no balance. You know, men are supposed to just forget about it, get over it, forget bullshit.
With guys your age, you're competing with grown men that got cars, money, jobs, and you're in high school broke. I had a girl I used to deal with back in high school. I'm like 16, 17, dealing with her.
Right.
And she ends up cheating on me with a grown man. So mind you, she used to call me broke when we got into it. Mind you, I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm supposed to be broke. But she wants to have the now. It's all about being patient, right?
Right.
A lot of these girls aren't patient. So she's dealing with a guy that he sells, you know what I'm saying, ends up getting arrested for it. Thank God. But he has a Porsche. He used to pick her up in a nice Porsche. Mind you, I'm 16, 17, playing 3 sports a year, no job, no nothing. I can't work. There's no way for me to make money because I don't have time. I'm a student. But they end up choosing those type of guys or getting pregnant by those guys or even getting over by those guys. And then later on, by the time we're 30, 40, they finally want to come with the guy that has a nice 9 to 5,
Right.
fears God and has great character.
Right. And we've all experienced that in our school days. But isn't it something? Let's take that same theory into our adult. Look at how a large number of women will choose the ain't shit niglet, the Pookie and the Ray Ray over the good man. But then when the Pookie and Ray Ray and the niglet do what they do, oh my gosh, what have I done? Well, let me see if I can go back to the good man that I friend zoned, that I overlooked, that I threw away to see if he still wants me. Ain't that about a bitch?
Want people to forget those type of things, and that's a no-no. Why should a man that you passed up on forget that or even give you the time of day now when he put in the work to be who he was, but when he was nothing on the come up, you passed on him for the guy that had it at the now. That's the problem. Y'all want the guy to have it now instead of later over.
We're seeing what I'm going to cut him off, but that's what we're seeing with a large number of modern women, especially black women, because they stick out like a sore thumb. But in general, modern feminist women, we see that exact same thing. Ain't that calling the kettle black?
Time. This building shit takes time. Women in today's time, and this is why a lot of black women aren't married, right? They don't want to build anymore. They want it now. They want you to have it now at 23, 24. They want you to have it at 19, 18, 16, 17. They want you to have it right now, not later, now. So that's why they go to the drug dealers and the scammers, and they want it now. And then when that guy goes to jail or he ends up, you know what I'm saying, getting popped or whatever, losing it all, that's when they get to crawling back to the guys that built it very slowly and
Yeah.
kept it. But they want you to forget it though. Let it go. No.
All right, so you guys heard the video for yourself. We have a very familiar face here. I've seen her on a few different platforms. I believe this is Anton Daniels' platform. Shout out to Anton Daniels, if I'm not mistaken. So she says that, you know, we have all these guys out here who look back at high school and they pursued these chicks who were dating scammers and drug dealers. Maybe he wasn't a scammer, but he was a straight bum. And they're upset because now she's a baby mama and she has his baby. And she wants him, but he doesn't want her because when he was down, she pretty much shit on him and chose up on him for.
You want to eat the cake, but you don't want to help bake it. That man has been baking the cake. He sought out the ingredients. He followed the recipe. He did his assignments. And he was able to bake the cake. This heifer want to come over and eat the cake that you baked, that she didn't help bake.
The drug dealers, scammers, and bums. And now she frames herself as the victim. Her and other women. No. Listen. She may be talking about other people here. Let me not make this specifically towards her. But she frames the women in this situation as victims and frames the men who look back to being rejected by these now newly single mothers as bitter. And she's saying it wasn't our fault because we were being manipulated. What are my thoughts?
How the fuck can you be a victim from a choice that you chose? How can you be a damn victim from a person you chose to lay with? How can you be a victim from a person you chose to get pregnant by? How is it that you're the victim? Look who you chose. Look who you slept with. Look who you got pregnant by. If anything, that good man that you threw away, you owe him an apology because you should have chose him first, dumbass.
100% your fault. If you were turning down good young men, because that's all a young man can be when he's in high school. That's all you can be. When you're in high school, you could just hope if you're dating or even college, right?
Be real about it. Let's be adult about it. I'm tired of modern feminist women blaming men for the fucking choices and decisions that they ass made. You made it. You did it. You knew what you were doing. You knew who you was choosing. You knew who you were going to sleep with and get pregnant by. Stop the fucking cap.
You could just hope that if you're in high school and college, that the men you're dealing with when you're younger are just good guys, that they have the type of character, because that's the only thing you really have built at that point that may point to you being successful in your future. You just hope that that young man has the character that you can feel safe around and that he's not toxic. But what happened? You went after the toxic man and couldn't recognize, and what you should have been able to recognize as a better option. And so a modern woman in this situation may look at this and go, well, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. Well, my question then would be, why didn't you know any better?
And whose fucking problem is that? Whose fault is that? That's yours. Now you see why it's so important to have both parents in the household. It is not man's responsibility to help you feel about you and how you feel. It is not man's responsibility to save your ass from the choices and decisions that you have made. It is up to you to own it. It is up to you to take responsibility.
Yes, your family is to blame, and your children do suffer the consequences of the mistakes of their parents. Let me make this very simple here. There's a verse. I'm going to roughly quote this because I don't remember exactly where it's from, but you can go look it up. But it reads, "Train a child in the way that it should grow, and when he grows, he will not depart from it." Now, he can mean she. That's just the way the Bible works. Feminists don't like it. It is what it is. That scripture, which this can be applied to life in general, is if you raise up a child the right way from the beginning, then as the child grows older, in most cases, not the exception, in most cases, that child will not depart from the instruction it was given when they were younger. So what does this mean? That means if no one really cemented in your mind that, hey, in this family, when you go to school, you represent this family, you don't deal with bums. You don't deal with dudes who sell drugs. You don't deal with men who think toxicity and the music they listen to is something that should be applied to their real life. And they actually are out here doing this shit for real, in real life. We don't do that.
But where it says, honor thy mother, thy father, so your days will be long, simply means, mother and father, thank you for taking the time and raising me the right way. I honor and I respect you for the good teachings and the discipline that you've taught me and instilled in me. I just want to make that clear, since individuals want to take certain scriptures and twist it to fit their own narratives.
My nigga.
We don't dress like that here in this house. The daughters here in this household should embrace modesty to an extent. No, you're not supposed to look like a nun. That's not what I'm talking about. But there should have been a standard set that should have helped you when you got into the world out there, when you went to school, that helped you make better decisions when you went to college and high school, so that you don't look at the forbidden fruit and think, oh, that looks good. Let me bite into that. Oh, come on. Well, what about the men? So they're not supposed to. Yeah, the men too, but we're not talking about the men. The men too, but we're not talking about the men. Yes, men have expectations, and same thing goes with my main point here. There are a lot of young people who suffer due to the lack of seriousness, lack of intentionality of their parents. I use the biblical reference just because there's so many lessons like that apply to just real life, like practical knowledge. In real life, they can be loosely applied. Another way I could put this is, if your parents didn't explain to you the gravity of getting involved with the wrong type of person and being in a toxic situation with some scammers and drug dealers, they failed you. Now, for a small percentage of people, and this is where you want to listen to this, because there might be some guilt relieved from you here, and don't be so quick to take that out. But there is a small percentage of people who did everything they can, but their kid just chose wrong. That's not the majority. Now, most people are going to claim that and be like, oh, I gave him everything. No husband in sight. Switching out men left and right. And no, this doesn't mean that a single mother or single father can't sometimes, right, exception, raise up somebody who's making good decisions later on in life.
But at the end of the day, at the end of it all, a large number of women, and what we're seeing here, a large number of women, mainly black women, are self-sabotaging and throwing their life away, throwing their love life away.
Parents, and especially fatherless households, just love on their kids, want to remove pressure, consequence, get out there, just have fun, enjoy yourself. And then they go out there, enjoy themselves. But enjoy themselves a little bit too much and have to suffer for those decisions. And the good guys, or specifically, I'd rather term this as the guys who women later on see as a good investment for a long-term relationship, not just fun. The good guys who said, hey, you know what? I don't mind looking like a square. In fact, I want to be the biggest square there possibly could be. Because if that means that I'm successful in the long run, if that means that, hey, she may not give me the cheeks right now, but later on, I will be able to be intentional about the women I pick. And those chicks will always be here.
Not only that, but as a man, I will be able to make better decisions and choices. I will use wisdom and discernment. I won't have to give up my resources and my finances to a woman that's a liability. I don't have to entertain the foolishness and the fuckery. I get to have my peace. I get to keep my options open for a woman that does come in with good intentions and she shows it. And we receive each other. That's the best position to be in.
Mind being a square. I don't mind being lame. Shit, I might lean into that. If that means I stay out of jail, avoid a whole bunch of STDs, baby mama drama, I'm trying to be as lame as possible, as lame as I possibly can be. In fact, not only that, I want to surround myself with lames.
When Yahshua wants payment, he gets payment. When the enemy wants payment, the enemy gets payment. You have to decide how much it's going to cost you and what you're willing to do. Until then, and only then, go be the best version of yourself. Take that with you and go be great. 1.